Okay, Tony, wanted to go through a couple of things here with you. First of all, my name is Jacob Cordero, and I own a small agency, digital agency out here in Phoenix, Arizona, and specialize in working with people in the junk removal and hauling industry. And so what I did is kind of just broke down a quick analysis of your current status and ranking, and I wanted to point out a couple of things and why. Moreover, like the searches that you're actually losing. And right now I've just typed into Google here your main search phrase, and you actually do very well considering the website and a couple of other things as far as the competition go that I'll get into in just a second. So what I'm looking at here is just the map ranking and the map pack, and you do very well. You end up right here on the third position, and there's several things that can be done to kind of improve that. But the main thing that you can do to improve this is actually if you can just get some reviews from your customers, that's going to help you a whole lot. The fact that you have no reviews and that you're ranking on there is a very good sign that your website is somewhat established. And again, we'll get into this in just a second. So when we type in the phrase junk removal, or let's see what, yeah, junk removal Albuquerque. So you come up here just right below, right around the sixth position on the searches. Okay, so right under Dave's Custom Hauling, and right under Haul It All Services. So what I want to do, and this is actually really good, the fact that you come up here for your main search phrase. There's probably about 300 search phrases in your area every month for this particular phrase, junk removal Albuquerque. So what I'm going to do is show you more or less why Dave's Custom Hauling is kind of doing well across the board, not just in this search phrase. They're the number one as far as the overall website that has clout, I guess you can say, with Google across the board, and I'll kind of show you why. So when it comes to deciding how your website's going to rank in these results, there's so many different factors, but the main one of the main factors that will help increase your visibility and ranking with Google is how many actual websites point to your website. So how many backlinks, we refer to them as backlinks, does your website have? So I'm going to show you, if we look here, here's Dave's Custom Hauling. He's got over 150,000 backlinks. Okay, the fact that he's got 150,000 backlinks is phenomenal, but not all backlinks are created the same. You can see that of these 170,000 links that he's got coming over into his website, there's probably about, so the referring domains right to the right of that number is how many websites are actually comprised to make up those links. So he's got about 417 websites pointing back to his websites that make up the 170,000 backlinks. So I'm not going to get into it very much, but just kind of think of backlinks like votes. The more votes that you have, the more popular your website is. So let's say essentially that Dave has 170,000 votes coming into his website. Well, your website sits with about 239. Okay, so the fact that you're even in the same ballpark as far as your website is not much less relevant than their website is, especially considering how big their website is compared to yours. You're doing very well. And my only guess, without looking into it very much, is that your website's probably been established for a while. You've probably had the domain for a while, and that's definitely holding up quite a bit of weight with Google. Because if you look here, this rating right here, this UR rating, is basically how relevant Google sees your domain as on a scale of 1 to 100. So the fact that it's 13 is not terrible. It's actually pretty darn good considering. And this is actually your rating for overall the pages that are on your website. And I'm not going to get much into this, but if you just look at these two numbers here, 13 being the number of kind of how relevant the site is based on, you know, certain different analysis We can look here at, if I can get this out of the way. So this is Dave's custom. I mean, he's at 17, you're at 13. Again, not a crazy big difference considering he has about 177,000 more backlinks than you do. Okay, so again, this is kind of to prove that while backlinks, websites linking into yours are important, it kind of depends on how good those other websites that are pointing to your websites are. So again, that's a little bit more complicated and advanced kind of stuff, but the back, I'll tell you right now, the backlinks that Dave's Custom Hauling has coming into his site are questionable at best. It looks like he did a lot of tactics to host maybe like scholarship giveaways or something where he's got a lot of educational links coming into his website that really are not relevant at all to his business, but they do make up links. And so anyways, I want to move on and show you more or less what you're missing out on as far as the searches. Okay, so Dave's Custom Hauling, he's got a lot of content on his website, and he's got some relevance again like with Google because of those links coming in. So what I'm looking at here is I pulled the results for how well Dave is kind of coming up overall through the searches, and what we're looking at here in column B, the keyword column in the left there, are the keyword phrases. So those are the phrases that if you type in, you know, his website's going to come up. And if you look in this next column under position, so column C here, this is actually, this column here is going to show you exactly what spot in the Google search he's going to come up on. So position 1, you know, that's the first spot. He's going to have the first organic ranking. Position 2, second. Position 3, so on and so forth. So you get an idea for how well and how visible he is across the board. So then if you look at the next column over here in volume, you're going to see roughly how many searches in your area people conduct for your specific service or your specific keyword phrase in this case. So we look here, and I told you that one of the main keyword phrases for what you do in your area gets roughly about 350 searches a month. So you'll see that that main phrase is junk removal Albuquerque. Okay, and so he comes up right under you, roughly, give or take a spot or two. You know, it's always fluctuating up and down in the 5th position. So one of the things you want to notice here is the volume of searches. This is how many searches are done for the stuff, most of the stuff that you guys want to come up for. Okay, so you can see 200. 150 here for furniture removal, right? So how to get rid of old broken furniture, about 250 of those searches a month. Okay, so you can see if we keep scrolling down here, Dave is pretty visible for a lot of different stuff. Okay, just a lot of different things that are related to your service and industry. Okay, so I'm going to go over to yours real quick and so we can kind of compare. So here we are, and you'll see that right here in that search phrase that we were looking at, junk removal Albuquerque, which is the main #1 phrase. You know, you're in the 6th position, which is pretty kick butt considering, you know, like how many more links he has, and the fact that he's got, you know, probably maybe, I don't know, you probably have maybe 5 to 10% of the content on your website that he has on his. Is an easy way to kind of break that down. And so content is an important thing, and we'll get into it in just a second. So I just kind of want you to see here the main problem with the fact that, you know, like there's not a lot of content on your website that's going to allow you to come up in the searches. So you can see that if we go down, really you're only relevant for a handful of searches. Okay, and I saw that you had more than just like one website. You have like one website that's like an older one, and then you have it forward to the newer make of the same website on the same domain, and then you have a whole different website on like some other marketing company. And so like we have a problem there in the fact that, you know, everything's kind of spread out. And so when we do that, there's certain things that Google doesn't like about that, but also it hurts you in that you're kind of dwindling down what we call your link juice, how much relevance you're getting from your incoming links, and they're kind of just getting diluted with all the different places that you have your information on and your company information is listed. So let's look real quick at that and kind of show you why you don't have more search phrases necessarily that you're really being that you're relevant for in the top, I don't know, like let's say top 100 positions or whatever. Okay, give me 1 second. Alright, so I want to look here, and so here's one of the issues, like I said, is that we have this website here that forwards to this weird WP 24/7. Okay, so basically if you go to 247hall.com, it forwards you to this other page, and so like your home page actually redirects, and that's a big no-no when it comes to Google, and how anytime your home page redirects somewhere, they think you're trying to pull one over on them. And so really in your industry it might not matter a whole lot, the competition is not very fierce, so but like it's not necessarily a good practice. So I did look and see kind of like from the 247hall.com domain itself, there's some links that are coming into that homepage that are kind of spammy links that are questionable, that could be hurting you. So that's something to kind of be concerned about. But ultimately, this should be fixed. Your website should not redirect like this. And I kind of think I understand why you have it that way, and it has to do with the old site that you guys still have kind of running, which is also an issue. But nonetheless, here's the website that kind of ranks. This one is the one that's most relevant. And there's not a lot of content here on the home page, which is not really much of a concern, but you should at least have like a footer down here for basic information, links throughout the website. And this looks ultimately like a site that maybe was started that didn't get finished. And actually this particular theme that you're built on here in WordPress, I'm very familiar with it. Actually have a company site set up with it on one of our satellite sites, so I'm very familiar with this and kind of like what it should look like. But I'm going to click over here, and you can see like the web pages themselves seem like they're just not completed. It's very text based, and there's not very much text. There's no real headings. There's no real H1 tags, which is like headings that Google looks for. This should actually be links that interconnect to the site. So you obviously know, I'm sure, where you're at with the status of this. The fact that you have a video here is very good. This address stuff should be formatted a little better for the map systems, but we'll talk more about that a little bit later. If we schedule something, we can kind of go over a couple more things in a detail. Excuse me. This looks like maybe it was an old site. Again, this site redirects a couple of different places, which is kind of a story all on its own that we can again discuss at some other time. So just kind of showing you, I'm sure you've looked at Dave's site. The fact that Dave's website plays music is probably not helping him, but again, the fact that he's got so much content on this website, like he's got a blog that goes on and on and on with different stories and articles. He's got different pages for each one of his services that he wants to rank for. So each one of these pages is dedicated to a specific service, and he goes into detail, and they're all built out well and very friendly for the search engine. So we've got real good headings here that the search engines look for. We've got bold letters that the search engines look for, so on and so forth. We've got interconnected links to improve the silo, what we call the silo structure of the site, which is really good. So I mean, Dave just has a lot of things going right for his website. And again, not to say that he's necessarily out of reach for us. He's certainly a little bit more, kind of down the road as far as being able to run him down. But there's other guys that you're losing a lot of traffic to for things like, concrete or construction debris cleanup, hot tub removal, appliances, single item removal, pricing for junk removal, etc., etc. So I hope that this has kind of been like kind of eye-opening a little bit for you to kind of see some of this stuff. And what I'll do is I have a link there. If you click on the bottom of this video, where you can just kind of email me and tell me like what might be a good time for you, you know, what day may be best or whatnot, and we can touch bases there, and we can kind of go into a little bit more detail and see, you know, what can actually be done on your end right now to get some of this stuff fixed up, and then we can just kind of go from there. Okay, well, I look forward to talking with you here in the future, Tony. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.